Hello, everyone, and welcome to Elevating Your Life. Paula Vail here. Another fantastic show to share with you today. I am really excited to have just an awesome lady, an awesome friend of mine, a true energy sister. We have known each other for several years. We have with us today Rose O'Connor. She is a Reiki teacher, practitioner. She is passionate about Reiki and writing. She has authored articles for the Reiki News magazine, and her first book, Footpaths, Love, Adventure, and Finding Home Within, which is now available on Amazon. She is here to talk to us about this first book of hers, which is just so amazing. Welcome, Rose.
Hi, Paula. So nice to see you again.
I just always
It's
so
really great
love
to be
chatting
here.
with you. It's so great. Well, I would love to
Me
have you
too.
share
We
maybe
are at
a bit of your background for the audience and for those that haven't heard your previous shows with me. What background and kind of what brought you to where you're at today and wanting to write this great book.
sure. Well, my background is pretty varied. I spent a lot of years working with horses in a more typical way, of teaching and doing a bit of horse whispering, I'd say, from time to time, and then got into the wellness field as my children grew older and got into massage therapy. And through massage therapy was how I found Reiki. And I was given the message along the way that I was to allow the other modalities that I had learned to kind of set themselves to the side because Reiki just came forward so strongly. And so I was very fortunate. Husband Joe and I lived in Colorado for a few years. And I had been teaching, working in hospice and teaching the nurses and things like that. And so just continued with Reiki. And we did a lot in Colorado. And that's when I started writing for the magazine and I met you. And we did a number of shows together. And since then we left Colorado in 2016, but in 2015 we decided to leave Colorado for a winter and go somewhere to sea level because we were starting to have some issues with the elevation. We were living at 8,000 feet above sea level. And, if you know anything about being above sea level, sometimes it can cause physical problems, right?
Mhm.
So we rented out our house and we said, okay, well, now what are we going to do? We have to find a place to go. And so I found this website called Trusted House Sitters. I'll put a blurb in for them. And they arrange for you to do house and pet sitting. And probably some of your listeners know about this already. It's kind of gotten to be a lot more popular since we started doing it. And it it involves, you look at the site and people put their profiles up and they put pictures of their animals, and you can
Oh,
see the animals. It's so great because, sometimes you see the pictures and I'll say to Joe, I want to take care of those animals because they look adorable, So, and then you meet the people on Skype. So what happened was we ended up going to England to do this, England and Scotland. And we did it for 4.5 months. And we went from house to house, from, sit to sit. And I had this idea in my mind when we left that I was going to write my first fiction novel because I've always loved writing. And when we got there, I started writing little vignettes to a friend of mine back home and his wife. And after about a month, he didn't hand it to me. He sent me a Microsoft Word document. He had taken everything I had written and put it together in a document
oh,
and said, this is your first book.
oh,
So that's kind of how the whole thing got started. And he was my biggest supporter because, he and his wife, if I didn't write to him for a couple of days, he'd say, "What's going on? Where are you? What's happening?" And so you just kind of, you need that motivation in the writing process to kind of see things through. And so, so I finished it, and then I got together with a brilliant editor, Rosie Pearson. She used to edit the Reiki News magazine, and she helped me with the editing, and I just revised it and republished it just recently. So it was
Oh,
a great experience.
that is so awesome. I love it. It just, isn't that amazing how things can open up for us and messages come to us that we didn't even realize. I mean, here you had this gentleman documenting all that and saying, there you go, that's your first book.
Yeah,
Time to do it, Rose.
yeah, stop putting it off, right?
Oh,
And it turned out to be that the book actually has a pretty strong thread of Reiki throughout it, which is something you and I share, because as a person that, as somebody that's guided by, your life is guided by Reiki, it can't help but come through your words and your thoughts and your
yeah.
actions while you're there. So it's a nice, I think it's a really nice read for people right now, especially because they can't travel. A lot of people
Mhm.
can't travel, to England. So, you get to take a little trip. And it's also nice for people who want to learn more about Reiki, or who are, have an affinity for Reiki. So they're going to connect with it. But yeah, it was a great experience and just really got me going to want to write more books. So
For you personally, Rose, what has been one of the most life-changing aspects of bringing the Reiki modality into your life?
that just makes me feel so emotional when you say it. So,
Oh,
but I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. So, for me personally, when I first found Reiki, I was very much in a space in my life where I myself was in need of healing. And so oftentimes we take that out into the world and reflect that out into the world, what we really need for ourselves. And so I think that when I first started, it was my own healing that I was seeking, but through the practice of Reiki, and I think more significantly through the teaching and sharing of Reiki with others, was the way that I began my own healing journey. And then it turns into other people's healing journeys, right? And
mhm.
you grow and you meet these people who, I mean, Paula, when you share a Reiki class or even Reiki sessions with somebody, there's a connection that is
Yeah.
like no other.
Mhm. It
And
really is.
it's just amazing. I have students that, and I'm sure you do too, that still are very close with me that I haven't seen for several years, and they still connect with me. And,
Yes.
it's just unbelievable. It
Yes.
really is a gift.
Because it does create a beautiful connection for us with our Reiki students. It really does. And it was actually Reiki students that inspired me to, I will mention, I have a Reiki training manual now created with one of my students co-authored, Beyond Wellness Yasui level 1 and 2 training. But it was students that said, Paula, you need to write a manual. So that shows what they do. Now, um, back to your book, Rose, you really, for what I've read, I mean, it really gives you a sense of loving adventure. It really triggered adventure in me.
Thank you.
What was that like for you to do this house sitting in other countries? I mean, so many of us, I bet, didn't even realize that that was out there. I know I didn't. And I can only imagine what that must have been like for you.
It's really fun. I mean, I've always, and people that know me know that I am a vagabond at heart. So I am a traveler at heart. And, that's been one of the wonderful things about being married to my Joe is that, wherever I want to go, whatever I want to do, he's ready. He's packing his bag and
Oh,
he's ready. And but doing it's such an amazing exchange of trust because you meet these people for a few minutes on Skype and they don't, I mean, there's things set up on the site for references and things like that, but most of the time they don't know you, and you're walking into their home and they're handing you the keys and they're letting you take care of their animals, and they're going off to Australia or somewhere, right?
wow. Yeah.
And people, like, we found people to be so wonderful and lovely, to open their homes to us like that. But at the same time, you also have to be very adaptable. You have to be able to say, okay, maybe I'm not sleeping on the greatest bed this month, or the dog gets up in the middle of the night and whines, or whatever it is. It's like, you have to be able to just like with any kind of travel, right? I mean, obviously we're not backpacking across India or something, but at the same time, we didn't do it when we were 20 either, right? So you have to be willing to just leave everything behind and just go forward, with an open heart. And it's a great adventure. It's just, and for me, traveling is just, it just lights me up, it just makes you look at everything in a new way. So
Yes. Now, how did Reiki play into that, Rose? I mean, did you find yourself uh, giving Reiki to these pets you were taking care of, or, the wildlife, or, just practicing and doing online? How did that play into your travels?
that's an interesting question because I think when I left, because I left a very active practice, and I think I had these, we tend to have these big aspirations, right? And I thought, oh, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to create classes and do all this stuff. And it wasn't like that. It wasn't anything like that. It was like Reiki was teaching me about myself. And that's kind of what comes through a lot, I think, in the book is, what am I here to learn about me, and what is Reiki going to teach me? And so when you take away everything that you think is you, then you see who you really are. And so I think on in a broader sense, that's what Reiki did for me on this journey. And of course we did Reiki for the animals and for the homes, and occasionally for a few of the people and things like that. But that's what's so amazing about Reiki is because it continues to guide us through our life, no matter what we're doing, right? No
Yeah,
matter what, and keep us safe,
yeah.
protect us, guide us.
It's a door that once we open it, it's open forever, isn't it?
Yep. It's unlimited. It's
Gee,
unlimited in what it gives.
oh, I love it. I love it. Do you have any fun little stories you'd like to share? Like,
Mm.
what you've seen with, giving Reiki to animals, horses, or experienced anything that really might make someone out there go, gosh, I think I want to learn Reiki and bring that into my life and,
I
and
think
be entertained because it is entertaining, isn't it?
it is entertaining. It really is. And there's a lot of stories. It's funny that you say funny stories because I certainly have a lot of really more serious, I guess, stories. Or, but the one funny story that you made me think of when you said that was, I remember being in a barn and I was at a horse event, and I had, been doing Reiki for a while, and there was this little dog in the arena. It was a very cold day, and there was this little dog, and this little dog came up beside me, and Joe said to me, I think this dog wants Reiki. And I was like,
Oh,
oh yeah, maybe you're right. So I just kind of put my hands out, not, not being in the dog's space, and the dog like rolled over and put her hip into my hand.
Yep.
And then the owner
Yep.
came up later and said, oh, she's having an operation on that hip next week or something, right? And things like that. I
It
mean,
is so fun. That is so what they do. My gosh, I know when I've had clients bring their dogs or their pets for Reiki too, I've had dogs go, oh, really? Okay. It's just amazing having deer lay down when you're sending Reiki to a deer in the yard. And I mean, it really is fun how they do that. And that dog picked up on your energy and said, I want it. And he said, okay, here, my hip. I love it.
it is. It's great. I remember being at this. I don't know if you ever heard of Longwood Gardens, but it's a huge place here in Pennsylvania. And I was there one day, and I was just sitting on this rock, and I was just sending out Reiki, and there was a flock of geese there, and the one goose. The others were all kind of grazing, and they all went, how they all go together. They all went walking across the lawn, and this one goose just sat there and stayed for a while. And then when it got up, I could see that it was limping on one of its legs. And, it's like you say, the intelligence of the universe is beyond our mental capacities to understand it. And that's where the animals and the energy can teach us so, so much, can it?
Oh, it can. And your book has such, it's such a great expansion with having, the information about Reiki, the adventure, the footpaths. It really does kind of, I know for me, trigger the imagination of, oh my gosh, things I could do, steps I could take, paths I could follow that I had not even realized. Because that was a big step for you to say, okay, we're going to go to Ireland and we're going to go over there and house sit. I mean, that was a big step. And you putting things down in words, that really was amazing. And I bet you didn't even realize that would be something that you'd be sharing with the world.
I it's such a treasure to me, because we actually did the house sitting 2 more years after that. We spent one winter for 3 months in Ireland, and I didn't keep my daily, like I wrote things, but not like that first year. And I realized the preciousness of it just as you have it. It's there. It's all written down. It's just there, right? And yeah, it is really, and it was a big step. It was a big step to take. And a lot of people say, how can you just walk away from your life for that long? And it's like, well, we were very fortunate, and we were also brave. But,
And really, what you were doing is contributing to your life, I think. You were giving yourself new memories. Isn't that what we do every day, Rose? We create new memories that we will take with us. I've always kind of told myself that. What new memories am I going to create today that I'll take with me tomorrow?
well, see, you're doing it right then, because you're not just as my teacher, Dr. Joe, would say, your body following your mind, right? You're not just following those same ruts that we've created every day. You're setting an intention at the beginning of the day to create something new. And I think that's what taking yourself out of your life does as well, because you're taking yourself out of the known and you're moving into something unknown.
Yes.
And so the possibilities then to change become greater, right? So bravo for you for
Thank you.
doing
That
that,
is so true. Gosh, please share with everyone your website, how they can learn more about you, and your book and all of that. Share that with us, please.
Sure. It's www.reikisLove, but it's one I. So it's REIKISLOVE And if they go on there and look under publications, they'll see this. I don't know if you can see that, but they'll see the foot paths, and they'll also see all of the Reiki articles that I've written, and they can download and read the entire article. So they're on there too, and some online classes and offerings. And I really welcome people to just write to me. I'm just a person just like you, but I'm always happy to talk with anybody or share or offer distance healing. I just really love what I do. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it. With a few minutes left in the show, what last words do you want to share with everyone today, Rose?
Gosh, at this particular time in life, there's so much to share, but I think that what we touched on is really important about setting intention every day for how we want to live our lives. And if we decide to open that door to Reiki, Reiki is going to be a great tool to help us to do that, because it really helps to guide us into the better part of ourselves and the deeper part of ourselves. And just, take a deep breath and find gratitude, just find gratitude in every day. And there's always another side. There's always something better out there that we can create for ourselves.
Oh, I love that. I love that, because there is always two different directions to look, isn't there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We create our own energy. We make our own choices. So.
Yes. And the energy we put out there is what we get more of.
Yes.
And we know in life, there can be days that it is a struggle to put that positive out there. It can be.
Yes,
But,
absolutely. That's why it's good to have Reiki. It's good to have somebody you can talk to that'll help you change your energy and lift you up. That's why we have each other. And I think that's so important, that we have each other.
Oh, yes. Isn't that wonderful? And to know that we have each other and we're not alone, and that, I believe, Rose, would you say, are the people here around us, our connections in the physical world, but there's also the angels, source. We're never alone. We're never alone.
I was just reading in one of my Reiki books by Hiroshi Doi, where he's asked, what did Asui Sensei want? What was his main message that he wanted us to learn? And in essence, I'm making it shorter, but he says, I am the universe and the universe is me.
Yes.
And really, it's that connectedness, right? It's that connectedness and that knowledge, like you say, that everything's here to support us. Nothing is ever distance from us, the angels, each other, even just you and I right now, our energy is flowing. We're not physically in the same place, but energetically, we're one energy. So
we all are part of totality. We are all connected. And gosh, that is something we can celebrate. I celebrate my energy sister, Rose.
I celebrate you. It's so, so lovely to be with you again.
Oh, thank you so much. And to everyone out there, you've got to check out Rose's book. It's so beautiful. And we are just so thrilled to have had you join us today. If you're listening to this show in audio, you can also watch the video at patreon.com/Paula Vail. And just love, hugs, and blessings to everyone. We are connected, and all of you out there listening, you are our energy sisters and energy brothers, and love it. Rose, love, hugs, and blessings, honey. You are so special to me.
Thank you. You're so special to me. Love and hugs and blessings to you as well.
Thank you. Goodbye, everyone. Have a fantastic day.